Hey guys, welcome to the Fight Tonight channel. Friends, before starting to watch this video, I would like to ask you to subscribe to my channel. I really want to get 5000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. It's so close, thanks for supporting me, guys. Famous promoter Eddie Hearn is sure that the legendary top-rank promotion company is finished. Hearn has no doubt that after the fight of the absolute lightweight champion of the world, American Devin Haney, who sold only 150,000 pay-per-view, ESPN will not want to renew the contract with Top Rank. Bob Arum used to say that I like bragging and I am a braggart. I can't understand why he said they don't take me seriously in America, like I am a buffon. I was just promotion, a show in Guadalajara, and we got 50,000 fans. Last year I had the Canelo Triple G and Alvarez Bio duels. We sold out Madison Square Garden with Katie Taylor. Arum just had his biggest fight in years with Haney. Only 150,000 pay-per-view were sold. There are no big fights in Top Rank. I want to ask, what was the last big fight in Top Rank? Now take Teofimo Lopez and Josh Taylor, whose fight will take place in the small hall of Madison Square Garden. There are only 4,000 seats, and they can't sell them. Top Rank is finished. Bob Arum calls me a buffon and a braggart, but I am not kidding right now. This is the end of the story. The contract with ESPN is terminated. They are not going to renew the contract with Top Rank, because this company no longer arranges big fights, Hearn said. American lightweight Shakur Stevenson admitted that after rewatching the fight between his compatriot, the absolute world champion in the same weight, Devin Haney, slightly changed his opinion about the result of this confrontation. According to Shakur, he still believed that Haney lost the fight, but gave a little more rounds to the champion. Also, Stevenson doesn't rule out that there could have been a draw. I just went back and watched the fight again. I came to a slightly different result than when I watched the fight in the arena. To be honest, it seems to me that it's either a draw or 7-5 defeat of Haney rounds. I used to have 8-4 against Haney, Stevenson said. Undefeated top lightweight Shakur Stevenson is looking at several options at 135 pounds, but his eyes are firmly set on a showdown with undisputed world champion Devin Haney. Stevenson was ringside last Saturday night in Las Vegas as he watched Haney win a close 12-round unanimous decision. At the same time, Stevenson believes the biggest fight at the weight is a showdown with Gervonta Tank Davis. I think both Davis and Haney fights is great fights for me, Stevenson said. Obviously, I think me and Tank is a bigger fight, but me and Devin is a fight where I could establish who I am as a fighter. After Haney retained his titles, Stevenson entered the ring and exchanged a few brief words with the undisputed champion. Stevenson would like to face Haney next, but there is no guarantee that Haney will stick around at 135 pounds. He may move up to the junior welterweight limit of 140 pounds. If Devin can't make the weight, and he don't feel the same, then just go up. But if it was me, if I was in his shoes, I would have the rematch. I would have to show the world that that dude can't fuck with me. That's how I would do it, Stevenson said. It's definitely some great fights to make. If Devin stays, I think me and Devin should fight next. If he doesn't stay and he decides to go to 140, I think me should bank it out. I think that's the big fight and the world get to see who I truly am, how special I am. I feel like just showed the world that he is not washed, he is not washed up. Now that we know that, I think it's only right. Throw me in there with him and let's see if I'm the truth. Keep saying I'm the truth. Kate Turman wants to return to living up to his moniker one time, and he has an unlikely figure to thank for that. The former welterweight titleist said in a recent interview that watching fights of Gervonta Davis has compelled him to get back to landing critical blows on his opponent. Baltimore's Davis is regarded as one of the sport's top one-punch knockout artists, having gone the distance in only 2 of his 29 career fights. Davis is coming off yet another stoppage win last month when he knocked out Ryan Garcia with a body punch in the 7th round of their high-profile 136-pound fight. Turman himself had made a name for himself early on as a puncher, but his recent fights have seen him rely more on his boxing ability, as evidenced by the fact that the last time he garnered a knockout was in 2015, when he dropped Luis Colazo in 7 rounds. The one thing, there was a time I heard people commenting, "Is Turman a gatekeeper?" K. Turman told, "I never met a gatekeeper that had one loss in the sport of boxing. I stopped knocking people out, I started putting on the world show, but we are gonna get back on those critical blows." Matter of fact, my motivation for dropping people is Tank Davis. Tank Davis showed me that why ever give up when you have that one-punch power? Why ever give up on the exclamation point? Just do it. Throughout my career, I was always labeled as a puncher. At a certain time, especially if you get to the 12th round level, if you want to stay at the top, you can't be exposed. Okay, he is dangerous for 6, 7, 8 rounds. It is not clear whom Turman will face next after Terence Crawford, the WBO titleist, and Errol Spence Jr., the WBC, WBA, and IBF champion, finalized the deal to fight each other on July 29th. Crawford and Spence famously failed to reach terms last year. Turman was then rumored to be next, in line to fight Spence next. The head of the top-ranked promotion company Bob Arum shared his thoughts about the controversial result of the fight by absolute lightweight world champion Devin Haney. "It was a very close fight, it all depends on how you look at this fight. Many felt that Haney had lost, some thought Haney had won. I think a lot more people saw Haney as defeat, but only the judges were important. All three considered that Haney had won. When the fight ended, I didn't think David had won," Arum said. Gervonta Davis draws intriguing Terence Crawford comparison from sparring partner. Gervonta Davis and Terence Crawford are two of the best boxers in the world. But who carries more one-punch knockout power? Crawford is the WBO welterweight champion with an unbeaten 39-0 record, with 30 of those wins coming by way of the knockout. Davis, who is also undefeated with his most recent win coming against Ryan Garcia last month, is much more efficient with his knockouts, as 27 of his 29 wins have come by way of finish, which is all the more impressive considering he has mainly fought under 130 pounds. Crawford, in comparison, has been fighting at 148 pounds the last few years, with welterweight prospect Brian Norman having the pleasure of sparring with both men. So with that said, who does Norman rate as the bigger puncher? When I sparred Terence Crawford, I was 20 years old and he tried to old man me and show me I was a boy, Norman said. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel.